You walk into your apartment after a long day. The door closes behind you, and the first thing you do is stand there in the quiet. No music, no TV, no podcasts, just silence. And for the first time all day, you can finally breathe. Your nervous system exhales. Your thoughts stop competing with noise. Your body remembers what it feels like to not be on alert. But here's what confuses you. Everyone else seems to need the opposite. They fill every moment with sound. They can't stand the quiet. They treat silence like something to avoid, something uncomfortable, something that needs to be filled. And you're over here craving it like oxygen, needing it just to feel like yourself again. So you start to wonder if something's wrong with you, if you're too sensitive, if you're missing some fundamental ability to handle the normal noise of life. But here's the truth. You're not broken, you're not overreacting, and you're definitely not alone. There's real psychology behind why some people need silence to feel okay, and understanding it might be the permission you've been waiting for to stop apologizing for who you are. So let's talk about what's actually happening when silence isn't just a preference, it's a necessity. Because this isn't about being antisocial or difficult, it's about how your nervous system processes the world. And once you understand that, everything starts to make sense. First, let's be clear about what noise actually does to your brain. Every sound is input. Every noise is data your brain has to process. And if you're someone who needs silence to feel okay, your brain doesn't filter noise the way most people's do. You don't have the ability to tune things out. Background music isn't background for you, it's foreground. Conversations happening across the room aren't ambient, they're intrusive. Your brain picks up on all of it, processes all of it, and that constant input is exhausting. It's like trying to think while someone keeps tapping you on the shoulder. You might be able to function, but you're never fully at ease. You're never fully yourself because part of your attention is always being pulled toward the noise. Here's what makes it worse. Noise doesn't just drain your mental energy, it activates your stress response. When your environment is loud, your nervous system interprets that as potential danger. It stays alert, it stays vigilant. It doesn't let you fully relax because it's still scanning for threats. And for people who are highly sensitive to stimulation, that state of low-level activation is constant when there's noise. You're not consciously stressed, but your body is. Your cortisol is elevated, your heart rate is slightly higher, your muscles are slightly tense, and over time, that accumulation of stress wears you down. It's not dramatic, it's not a panic attack, it's just this slow, steady depletion of your energy that you can't quite explain until you're finally in silence, and suddenly, everything settles. Now let's talk about what silence actually gives you. It's not emptiness, it's not the absence of something. Silence is the presence of space. Space for your thoughts to land. Space for your nervous system to recalibrate. Space for you to hear yourself again. Because when you're constantly surrounded by noise, your internal voice gets drowned out. You lose touch with what you're actually thinking, feeling, needing. You're just reacting, just surviving, just moving through the day. But in silence, you get to come back to yourself. You get to process what happened. You get to integrate your experiences. You get to exist without having to split your attention between the external world and your internal world. And for people who live mostly in their heads, that integration is crucial. Without it, you feel fragmented, overwhelmed, like you're holding too much and have nowhere to put it down. Here's where it gets deeper. People who need silence often have a very specific relationship with control, not in a manipulative way, in a survival way. If you grew up in an environment where things were chaotic, where noise meant conflict, where you couldn't predict what was coming next, silence became your safe space. It became the only place where you had control, where you could think clearly, where you didn't have to brace for impact. And even now, even in safe environments, your nervous system still associates noise with unpredictability and silence with safety. It's not a conscious choice, it's a deeply ingrained pattern. Your body learned that silence means you're okay, and without it, you're not. But here's what people don't understand. Needing silence doesn't mean you hate people. It doesn't mean you're antisocial. It just means you need to regulate your nervous system in a way that works for you. And for you, that means reducing stimulation. It means creating environments where your brain doesn't have to work overtime just to function. It means protecting your sensory boundaries the same way other people protect their time or their space. Because if you don't protect those boundaries, if you force yourself to exist in constant noise because that's what everyone else tolerates, you're not adapting, you're just depleting yourself. And depletion isn't resilience, it's harm. Let's reframe something important here. Society treats the ability to tolerate noise as a sign of strength. It celebrates people who can work in open offices, who can focus with music playing, who can be productive in chaos. And if you can't do that, if you need quiet to think, to work, to just exist, you're made to feel like you're too sensitive, too particular, too high maintenance. But here's the truth. Needing silence isn't weakness, it's self-awareness. It's knowing what your system requires to function optimally. And honestly, that's more intelligent than forcing yourself to operate in conditions that drain you just because everyone else seems fine with it. Here's another layer. People who need silence are often deep processors. You don't skim the surface of life, you absorb it, you feel it, you think about it. And that kind of processing requires bandwidth. When there's constant noise, your bandwidth is spent managing the noise. There's nothing left for the deeper work your mind wants to do. So you end up feeling scattered, unfocused, like you're always half present. But in silence, your mind gets to do what it does best. It gets to wander, to connect, to create, to solve problems, to make sense of things. And that's not laziness. That's how your intelligence operates. Some people think best in motion. You think best in stillness. Now, let's talk about the guilt. Because if you need silence to feel okay, you've probably spent your whole life feeling guilty about it. Guilty for needing the TV off, guilty for not wanting to go to the loud restaurant, guilty for asking people to be quieter, guilty for leaving social situations early because the noise became too much. And that guilt comes from the belief that your needs are unreasonable, that you're asking too much, that you should be able to handle what everyone else handles. But here's what you need to understand. Your needs aren't unreasonable, they're just different. And different doesn't mean wrong. It just means you have to be more intentional about creating the conditions that allow you to thrive. Here's the shift. You can need silence and still have a full life. You can love people and still need quiet. You can be engaged with the world and still require regular periods of sensory rest. The goal isn't to toughen up and tolerate noise. The goal is to build a life that respects your nervous system, to choose environments that support you instead of drain you, to stop apologizing for needing what you need, because the right people will understand. They won't make you feel difficult. They won't guilt you for protecting your peace. They'll respect that silence isn't a luxury for you, it's a necessity. But here's something to watch for. Sometimes needing silence can become avoidance. If you're using quiet as a way to escape uncomfortable emotions, if you're isolating because the world feels too overwhelming, if silence is less about rest and more about hiding, that's worth examining. Not with judgment, just with curiosity. Because there's a difference between needing silence to recharge and using silence to avoid life, and only you can know which one you're doing. Here's the compassionate truth. If you need silence to feel okay, it means your nervous system is wired to notice subtleties most people miss. It means you're processing the world at a depth that requires quiet to integrate. It means your system is designed for quality over quantity, for depth over stimulation,
for internal richness over external noise. And in a culture that glorifies busyness and constant stimulation, that wiring feels like a disadvantage. But it's not. It's just different. And different requires different conditions. Not because you're fragile, because you're tuned to a different frequency. So if you're someone who needs silence to feel okay, here's what I want you to remember. You're not too sensitive. You're not demanding. You're not missing out on life by needing quiet. You're honoring how you're built. And that's one of the bravest things you can do in a world that's constantly telling you to be louder, busier, more available. Because protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's survival.